So what can you tell us about going into season 5, especially with Micah's condition and Pete not really telling anybody else?
Look, Jack Kenny, our executive producer and our head writer, is such an amazing storyteller that I think that the fans are, because we kind of have to crunch everything into 6 episodes, right? So, I mean, I can't really speak about Micah's cancer.
Yeah.
What I can tell you is every moment that Pete and Micah spend together is a moment for their relationship to become stronger, and I think that's proven itself over the last 4 seasons.
Definitely.
And I think, as in life, you know, when you spend a certain amount of time with someone that you love, your relationship changes and it goes into flux. But it's one of the purest. I mean, I try and model my own relationships after the relationship that Pete has with Micah. So I know that's the longest answer to the shortest question you've ever asked. But so I'm just dancing over here.
Well, I was just wondering, since this season, and this is going to be the final season, is Pete, who's the lovable, kind of goofy at times person, is he going to change? Is he going to become a little darker?
No.
Or you think you'll see the same Pete?
No, I think that the moment Pete becomes consumed by his darkness, because the darkness is what makes Pete goofy in the first place.
Yeah.
It's his shield against the darkness, right? So the moment that the darkness that he becomes dark is would be the end of Pete, I think. That's one thing that, again, Jack has. We have very serious. Micah has cancer, but Pete remains funny, and the stories remain, lighthearted, but still, like in one scene last year, there was Pete and Micah are carrying this big box in the finale, I think, and Micah lets go and Pete drops it. I mean, it's this great comedic physical bit for me.
Yeah.
And then, it's kind of like Keystone Cops. And then in the same scene, Pete says, "What's going on with you?" And Micah says, "I've got cancer." So you go from being funny, laughing to "Oh, are you kidding me?" And that's what the show is, and that's what it's always been, and that's what it will continue to be.
As an actor, how do you find that balance to be able to switch it back and forth? Because that's what your character's always been able to do. Extremely serious and extremely funny in the very next line.
I love that about the show. I love that about the character. The fact that I can. I mean, I hope I pull it off, but that's like the big challenge for me as an actor, to be able to make that turn. Because I think that is fun for the viewers. I think what I've loved about the show is that it keeps the viewers kind of off balance. You don't know if you're going to laugh or cry, and at the end, if you feel a little like, whew, that was a little exhausting, then that means you've actually felt something. So.
Yeah. Let me tell you something, that whoo feeling was what you all did to us in the last 5 episodes of the season. I was like, yeah, lighthearted. What the hell, guys? Everything's bad all of a sudden. It was just horrifying.
Oh, thanks.
It started with your big confession episode where you talked about the drunk driving, and then it just rolled into Micah's cancer, and then rolled into Claudia's sister, and then now it was ridiculous. What are you guys doing? Are we trying to kill me?
I know. Well, that's another thing about Jack, is he knows me he's basically like my older brother. I've known Jack since 97 or 98. He was actually a writer-producer on my first show ever, which was a sitcom on the Fox channel. So I've known Jack for a long time. He knows me really well, and I love that. We've always tried to put pieces of our real pieces of ourselves into the show and into the character. And the whole sobriety confession thing. I have 13 years sober. Pete has 13 years sober. So it's always a great opportunity to kind of purge yourself of
Nice
things
catharsis,
and
yeah.
just go, oh, I was just acting. No, I don't. Yeah, I don't feel any of those things. Yeah, exactly. It's very, very cathartic.
Warehouse is like a family. They're like a family unit, and now one of your family members, well, a lot of them are feral with the disease, but then one of them is actually stuck in the warehouse.
Oh, yeah, that's where we left Claudia, right? She's in the warehouse.
So now that I'm starting to think that the teams are going to be a little bit divided up.
I'm trying to think. It gets a little confusing because we did season 4 in 2 pieces, and then like I was doing an interview, and they're like, "So tell us about the," and I gave them the finale of, and he was like, "What? That's not what happened." I was like, "Oh, I think I just told you too much. I may have spoken."
So
Yes. Never mind. Erase. So your question is everyone divided?
Well, no, but the dynamics have to change with Claudia stuck in the warehouse.
Well, yeah. I mean, obviously, our big mission now is to get back in the warehouse to get past. So yeah, we've got to get in there and help our little sister out. So, but I think you guys will enjoy it. I think the fans are going to dig it.
Without giving away what is going to happen, what would you want Pete's ending to be? Like, where do you think he ends up?
Well, when I found out that we were only going to get 6 episodes, yeah, it's a bummer. But I don't know. What do you do? I mean, it is what it is. But I said to Jack, I go, so do we all die? What happens? Are you going to kill us all? What are you going to do? And he explained how we all end up, and it's really beautiful. And it's not, there's no cliche in there, I'm really happy with it. I wish I could tell you more, other than I can just say that, what I want, where I want Pete to end up is exactly where Jack says he should end up. I don't. Now that I know that I've read the script, I can happily say that I can put Pete, away and walk away. Put Pete on the shelf. I actually have it. That's how much of an egomaniac I have. My wife said that will go in the bathroom. So I've got my little Pete. Have you seen the Pete statues?
Yeah.
Pretty cool, right?
Oh yeah.
You have a statue of yourself, obviously.
How has it been working with Anthony Head?
I mean, the guy is basically a legend in the UK, and he's a huge, Buffy, an amazing actor. To be able to, I have that scene with him at the warehouse at the end where he and I, had that confrontation, and it was just so exciting to be able to share something like that with someone who I respect as much as I respect his work, and I guess that's for me why I like acting so much, is because it gives me an opportunity to test myself against some. I mean, working with Saul, when I found out I was going to be I was like Lee Donowitz from True Romance. I mean, and from Unforgiven and The Candidate, and on and on and on. And I remember when we were doing the pilot, and I said to Saul, I was like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I can do this. I'm number 1 on the call sheet. It's like, I don't know if I can handle the responsibility of that. And he said to me, if you weren't ready for it, you wouldn't be where you are. And so I've got to take that with me. I'm going to shut up now.
Oh, dude.
How is that to hear something like that from someone that you admire so much?
I mean, it's one of my best memories of the show. It's funny because we didn't know each other. He had a convertible. He was driving me home, and it was at night. And he parked the car, and he goes, "Hey, I'm not queer or anything." Okay. He's like, "I'm not trying to. Let me tell you a few stories, kid." So we sat in his car and talked. He told me, after I told him my concern, he told me this story about he and Jeff Bridges when Saul was a young guy, and they were shooting. Hey Saul, what was that movie with Jeff Bridges? Thank you. Against All Odds, and he told me this little anecdote about, he was worried. He thought maybe he wasn't doing things right, and Jeff Bridges just said basically what he said to me: if you weren't supposed to be where you are right now, you wouldn't be here. No one would hire you to do this if they didn't think that you could do it. So I've kind of put that in my pocket. Thank you so much, you guys.
Thank you.
I hope some of that's useful.